So, hi everybody, welcome to Lawyers Who Stream, episode 8. What do we want to call this one? Social media and the law, I think that's where we're going with. So joining me today is Kyla Lee. She's a criminal defense lawyer focusing on impaired driving and other driving offenses, dealing with any case in which someone got in trouble involving their car. She went to UBC Law and has been called to the bar in both BC and the Yukon. She practices at Acumen Law and is here to talk about her practice and also her use of social media in the practice of law. So, Kyla, welcome. Thank you so much for coming on.
Hello, thank you for having me, and thank you for accommodating my terrible math skills.
It's okay. It's lawyer math. I figure it's an easy
Yeah,
excuse.
yeah. I figured, you'd probably understand because I'm a lawyer that I don't know how to add or subtract.
hmm So tell me a little bit. We'll start off just talking, nice and easy about your practice. Tell me a little bit your day to day. What do you deal with, sort of in a typical day with clients?
Oh, I mean, day to day is a lot of running around. Most days I will have between 3 and 5 hearings for roadside prohibitions for drinking and driving. So in BC, we have like a 90-day roadside prohibition that you get if you blow a fail on a roadside breathalyzer. And then there's review hearings. Those are conducted by telephone. So I usually do 3 to 5 of those a day, and they're only at 9, 10, 11, 12, and 1. Interspersed in there, I'll be in traffic court for a couple matters. I'll be calling clients to prepare for hearings that are coming up,
Mhm.
and then usually some court appearances in the afternoon for more complex matters.
And how much has COVID-19, the pandemic, really affected your practice? Has it shifted a lot more stuff online or over the phone, or is it pretty much consistent?
It didn't have a huge impact. The bulk of what I do is these roadside prohibitions,
hmm
and those have always been done by telephone. So it was
Mm.
the easiest transition to working from home. I literally just took my files home. And there I was doing the same thing I was doing in the office, but I'm on the phone with an adjudicator in my house. And pre-pandemic, I have done them everywhere. I did them at Disneyland. I did them like everywhere you can imagine. You take a call and you talk to the adjudicator and you get 30 minutes and then your hearing's over. So
And can you explain what roadside prohibition is, just for anyone who might not know?
yeah, so it's a 90-day roadside prohibition. You blow a fail in a roadside breathalyzer, your car's impounded for 30 days, your license is suspended for 90 days, you have to pay a $500 fine, $250 license reinstatement fee, and then at the end of the 90 days, you have to go to something called the Responsible Driver Program. The
hmm
total cost is over $3,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's charged to the defendant, obviously.
Yeah, so it's worth if you win, it's worth every penny that you spent disputing it because
Mm.
it's months of your life that you get back and you don't have to pay all of those costs. And I'm a lot cheaper than the cost of the, the
Right,
cost
for
of the
sure.
consequences. Um, so I mean it was easy with the pandemic, just transitioning for that. Courts here were shut down from March 18th until like mid-July, although we had sort of a phased reopening of various court things, but traffic court reopened at end of June, mid-July,
hmm
depending on the location. So it just shifted back to normal, but with fewer disputants and fewer officers in each session.
And did it ever close again, or has it just kind of been open since summer of 2020?
We've had it open since summer. So we have sheriffs at the front of the courthouse that screen everybody that comes in the buildings. You have to pass the quiz.
Right.
It's kind of like when you want to go over a bridge and the troll's like asking you a question, except the troll is like a really nice sheriff. But it feels that way. You're like, okay, I have to get all the answers right, or I don't get to get in the building. And then masks are required in the common areas
Of
of the
course, yeah.
courthouse,
hmm
plexiglass distancing, and they have porters that wipe every surface down. They follow people around and wipe things after they're touched. They literally follow people and wipe up after them.
Wow, that seems
Yeah.
very intense. I haven't been inside a courthouse since the pandemic started, so don't often get too much of a insight into that. But do you get the sense that it's I don't know, going off track a little bit here, but do you get the sense that it's kind of like, is it like sort of a lot of theater, cleaning everything up after stuff? Think it's effective? Have you heard about anyone getting sick at the courthouses?
I mean, there have been no cases of transmission that have been publicly released at courthouses. There have been exposure events,
Right.
although they have not been classified as exposure events, but
Mm,
we heard about them through the grapevine. up until I want to say like 6 months ago, we didn't even have public reporting of any exposures at the courthouse. So as defense lawyers, we would find out because somebody in the Crown office would get a message being like, oh, somebody who was COVID positive was here. And we're like, oh, thanks for letting us know. Because if you didn't, nobody else would. Now we got to go get tested.
Hmm.
Um, so that was very terrifying. I was in a trial in November, which was one of our sort of our on our peaks and valleys of COVID numbers, one of our peak times in the center of the biggest outbreak. And there was a message that was passed to the Crown Council that there'd been an exposure at the courthouse. And we were all like, we're just not going to, all of us, Crown Defense, we're just not going to go to court the next day.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I speak to a lot of defense lawyers here in Ontario, and it seems like there's been some difficulties in making sure that defense lawyers are alerted to those exposures. Like the Crown office gets a call immediately, and then they sort of passed on to you. But if they didn't do that, like they said, you wouldn't really know. I would have hoped they would have cleaned up messaging around that a little bit better.
No. And we also had a bit of a scandal like last week or the week before when it became public that prosecutors in the Vancouver Crown Counsel office all got prioritized for vaccines
Oh.
and defense lawyers did not. And it was
Mm,
apparently due to repeated workplace exposures. But all of the defense counsel were subject to the same exposures, and yet we were not given any opportunity for expedited priority vaccines.
yeah, that seems a little off, but anyhow, don't want to linger on this for too long. We've got a lot of stuff to get to. I just want to ask about, you seem to work alone mostly in your practice, but do you ever work with other lawyers, collaborate with them? What's sort of your relationship to the rest of the defense bar?
Oh yeah. I mean, we have in our office, I think 12 lawyers. So
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to say you work alone in your office and you're in chambers, but rather you kind of handle your own files. You have to collaborate with other lawyers on certain files.
I do collaborate with my colleagues, and a lot of my files will overlap with people who have civil issues. So, like if my client is accused of impaired driving and causing an accident, then there'll be a lawyer who's handling the accident claim and the injuries and the insurance breach consequences. So,
Hmm.
it's necessary that I work collaboratively with other lawyers on that type of stuff.
Very cool. Um, and so you're very active on social media, on Twitter, and I see that you also produce quite a bit of content, educational content about the law. How did you get started with that, and how does that sort of play into your career? What role does it play?
I mean, I started my Twitter. Well, I started a Twitter account, a different Twitter account, a
Mhm.
long, long, long time ago when Twitter first came out. And then in law school, I started tweeting the ratios of cases. Just like one line tweets with the citation for the case and the ratio. I don't know why. I just decided to start doing it. And then when I started practicing, I thought, okay, well, Twitter is a good place where I can reach clients or potential clients, but also where I can reach out to other lawyers and where I can, sort of join this community of people who are talking about the law. So I started using Twitter a lot just on a daily basis to make myself accessible to the public and to other lawyers because, information that I have is useful to other people and vice versa.
Mhm. Yeah, it's been something. I guess I was on Twitter in law school and then didn't really know what to do with it for the longest time. It wasn't really until the pandemic year, honestly, that I actually got on, started using it in earnest because there was no other way to network. I wasn't meeting people at events. I wasn't going to court. I wasn't doing any of these things. So it definitely served that purpose for me. I know that you also do regular shows, like audio shows, talking about different aspects of law. Do you want to talk about how you got started with that?
Well, it started, I guess, I was blogging initially. Actually, when I was in law school, I was also blogging about how much I hated law school. Specific criticisms of the UBC Law's Career Services program that ultimately resulted in massive changes at the school. So it was very effective.
Oh, good.
Um, yeah, they didn't like my criticism, so they changed things, which, great. If you don't like what I'm saying, change what you're doing.
It's probably the best response, honestly, as opposed to trying to what shut you down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then my blogging kind of morphed into trying to find other ways to reach people. I was always interested in YouTube videos and doing things like that. And podcasting was never really something that interested me, but as it became more popular, I thought, okay, this is a medium that people are consuming. And,
Hmm.
to quote Marshall McLuhan, the medium is the message. So I need to be in that medium to make sure that the information that people need to have is getting to them.
Hmm. Yeah, it seems like podcasting is starting to. I mean, it was a thing for quite a while. There's lots of lawyers have been having podcasts. Blogging before that, blogging was very popular. There's a bit of a gap in video content though right now. Hence, that's one of the ideas behind the show is to make sure there's more video content going out live and then going out on YouTube as well. Do you do much video content these days?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm filming videos on Sunday night.
Oh, lovely.
Uh, yeah, so I do a series called Cases That Should Have Gone to the Supreme Court of Canada But Didn't.
Yes, I think I've seen this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every Monday, and I had Beverly McLaughlin come on as a guest star one time,
Wow.
uh, which was like the best day of my life ever. Not gonna lie, I got to hang out with Beverly
Yeah,
McLaughlin.
totally.
And she weirdly agreed to be on my stupid video show. And I do something called Can You Fail It, which is currently on hiatus because I can only film so much of it at once before I get sick
Hmm.
because I put all sorts of gross stuff in my mouth and then see whether or not it'll cause a fail rating on a breathalyzer. So like chewing tobacco, windshield washer fluid, soy sauce. Like I drink like a shot of soy sauce and see what that does. Um, I do like a bunch of FAQ videos and I make music videos.
Music videos, really?
Yes,
Yeah.
I have a hobby as a very bad musician.
What do you play?
I sing
You sing?
badly.
Do these videos go up on YouTube, or are those just private music
Oh
videos?
no, they're on YouTube. I have no shame, right? Like I'll go on YouTube. I'll do something. Pop Like a Pirate Day a couple years ago, we built a massive pirate ship in the back of our office. We have an office that has a warehouse space in the back.
Oh wow.
So we built a pirate ship. We dressed up fully like pirates, like intense costumes, makeup. We had a set, we had props, we had everything, and we filmed scenes that were basically us acting out what our clients would experience if they were getting their impaired driving charges in a fictional pirate world. So like smoking the seaweed, having to walk the plank instead of walk the line, like just silly stuff like that.
I have to
Yeah,
find this video now.
yeah.
Also,
Those are private. They only come out once a year for Talk Like a Pirate Day.
I just realized that this means that I've not interviewed someone who interviewed Beverly McLaughlin, so that puts me one step away from Beverly McLaughlin, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you are only one degree of separation from the former Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Canada.
Fantastic, totally worth it. When you make these FAQ videos and videos for disseminating legal information, is that targeted at the general public, at other lawyers? Do they have different audiences? Do you find people react in different ways?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the different videos have different audiences. So the cases that should have gone to the Supreme Court of Canada videos, I don't think the public really cares about that
Hmm.
because like, who cares about why a case might about bankruptcy law might be of national importance, like snooze fest. Except lawyers. Lawyers love that crap.
Right, of course.
Um, and but the can you fail it is sort of it's more directed towards people in their 20s. Like it's a little bit kind of ham and tongue in cheek. Like we green screen ourselves into a science lab and we dress up like scientists,
Mhm.
gloves and goggles and lab coats. And it's just meant to be a little bit fun. And then the FAQ videos are sort of targeted at potential clients, although they're totally useful too if you just want to learn, like you don't know anything about driving law in BC and you want to learn.
Great. Um, so for the cases that should have gone to the Supreme Court video, what's the most interesting case you think that you've researched for that one?
Oh my God. Okay. Oh, there's so many. Well, there was one where a guy confessed to a murder in a rap, and it was the admissibility of the rap lyrics for the truth of their contents. That
Mm,
was fascinating. Um, yeah, I mean, there's lots of cases about like evidence, but yeah, the rap one sticks out because it's kind of like something you'd see on Law and Order.
yeah, that's definitely a standout case. I think that's one that David Tanovich, who's my evidence professor, used that sort of fact scenario in his class. It's a very fascinating case. Um, And as for the when you make these videos, the such as the Powerchip one, that's kind of something that your whole firm is on board with.
No.
No.
No. It's nobody is required to be stupid, so
Well, no,
anything.
not that it's required, but like they sort of participate with you, and they're kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
yeah,
People will participate to the degree that they want. I will be honest, most people at our office do not want to ham it up in front of a camera, but we do get some participation from the staff.
mm. And your who edits your videos? Is it you?
I actually own a marketing company called Brazen Bull Creative,
Oh
and
wow,
so yeah, we do video editing and production. So I don't do it, but my staff does.
Brazen Bull. So is that marketing company? Is that sort of from your past life, or is that something you started up while you were lawyering?
I started it while I was lawyering, but marketing was always something that I was just interested in. I before I became this is really embarrassing. Before I became a lawyer, I worked as a model, and like 90% of getting a job as a model is hustle. Like you gotta
Yeah.
market yourself, sell yourself, find out what the client's about, learn about what the client wants, pitch to the client essentially at a casting. You're not just standing there and being like, look how tall and thin I am. You're also like, I know this and this and this about your brand, and I can represent your brand in this way, or this mood or theme or whatever. And so it always just appealed to me because I think I developed those skills after years of doing that.
Hmm.
Just when I'm working as a lawyer, I transitioned those skills into building my practice, and then I thought, well, maybe I can make some money on it in addition to being a lawyer.
Yeah. Do you find that that takes up a lot of time, the marketing? Or is it sort of something that kind of you're able to do on the side comfortably while doing your law
Yeah,
practice?
I mean, the people that work at Brazen Bull are really, really good. So they basically run things, and I just check in every once in a while and make sure they have what they need.
Awesome. I don't think the
Yeah.
model thing is embarrassing, by the way. I actually know several, just by coincidence, just several people I know who went to law school, were doing modeling beforehand, either to make money or possibly going for that as a career. But that's interesting side of it I hadn't heard before. How much of it is hustle and pitching yourself and like essentially marketing yourself to companies.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it teaches you how to wait around in court all the time because when you at a photo shoot, you get your hair and your makeup done and then you wait
Right.
and
You
you
stand on set just waiting for your shot all the
just
time.
waiting. And it's like 2 seconds of shooting and they get the picture and then you leave. And you're like, wow, all of that for I really only worked for a couple seconds. It's kind of like going to court.
um, So, when building your practice, kind of just starting out, what sort of advice would you give to people who are starting as a sole practitioner or in a small firm, just kind of building up their client base to get more work?
I mean, one thing I would say is talk to other lawyers around you because I guarantee you that people are busier than they let on and they don't have the capacity to take on a lot of work. Like, and you'll get referrals from other lawyers if you build those connections.
Hmm.
Also join organizations like the CBA and the Advocate Society, and if you're in BC, the Trial Lawyers Association of BC, because you can get referrals through those organizations, which is really helpful. And beyond that, just make yourself available. Like, I think the biggest reason that people come to me when they come here and they're like, I'm coming because I want to hire Kyla. I think the biggest reason for that is that they see me online. They can message me on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, and they can interact with me and they can get an answer if they have a question, or they know that I'm like a real person and I'm not some scary, lawyer lady.
Hmm. So, having a very online personality, that is something that helps you attract clients that might want
I
to hire
think
you.
I think so, especially because I'm so shy in real life. Like I don't like going out and seeing people. And you said before you really weren't on Twitter because you had all these other options for networking. That stuff is so hard for me. Like I stand around and I'm like looking nervously around the room, and then I just like do the French goodbye where I just leave and don't say anything to anyone.
Mhm.
It's not good for me. So the internet is safe.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, I didn't necessarily enjoy all those events. I mean, I also wasn't super comfortable with the bar socials and whatnot. I just thought they were the only option until I discovered this whole other online world that I was exposed to through the pandemic. So that's been a good change. I think I'm going to try and do a little bit more of this and a little bit less of the in-person stuff because it's going to take a while to adjust back to that. I think, and that's kind of what everyone's looking at now as we come out of the pandemic and things start opening up again. Which I think in BC you're looking at opening up like pretty soon, aren't you?
We just yesterday got our reopening plan. So we just got our indoor dining back and we're already talking about, fairs and concerts and all the good stuff in summer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Totally wild. Yeah. Um, well, Kyla, great to meet you. I really appreciate you coming on. Great to meet you over camera. Obviously, we've talked on Twitter and over email and whatnot, but this has been a lot of fun. This video is going up on YouTube tomorrow, so you can share it to friends or share it on your own channel, whatever you like. I have your Twitter handle beneath your face right now in the video. Do you want to plug your Instagram account or your YouTube channel, anything like that?
Sure. YouTube, it's Acumen Law, easy to find. And Instagram is at Kyla Lee Lawyer. And also, hi, Twitch. This is my first time on Twitch, so I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I think Twitch, I don't know, what did you think of Twitch before coming on here? I'm curious about what the average person thinks of it.
The only thing I knew about Twitch is that we used to have a bookkeeper who quit her job here to play video games on Twitch, and I do not understand how she makes money doing that.
You need
But,
to you need to sell merch. That's one thing. You need to be very, very, very popular, um, and play games lots of people like. But
okay,
there's always some sort of gimmick, when you're on Twitch. I find people that get really big have some sort of gimmick. But that's sort of I the reason I like Twitch and the reason why I'm on this platform is it's just very accessible for my setup. To be able to get out there, it has all kinds of great features as the channel starts to grow, and it's not really about video games anymore. I mean, they have a category now for streaming that's called just chatting, where you can literally talk about anything, do a live podcast, a lot like this, and they also just this is kind of a weird thing that might be of interest to you. They just created a new category of pools, hot tubs, and beaches because what was happening was there were a lot of streams happening that weren't gaming related. They were people sitting in hot tubs, usually in swimwear, usually ladies, reading tarot cards and like talking to their fans or doing things like that. So they wanted to separate rather than ban it, they just separated it out into a separate category.
sure.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Twitch is changing a lot and changing in some kind of cool ways. So I thought it'd be interesting to get on the platform. Anyways, so thanks again. I appreciate you giving us a chance. Your first time on Twitch. Next week, everyone, we're gonna have Doran Gold on, and he's gonna talk a little about mental health in the profession. So that's gonna be a very interesting show. Yeah.
I love him. Everybody should watch that.
Yes, I agree. I'm gonna promote the hell out of that. Okay, thank you so much, Kayla.
Thank you. Bye.